Hey everybody, this is 60-Second Mentor. We are actually going to try something a little bit different today. I wanted to not only do something just before let me mute that a second, sorry. I wanted to do something a little bit special today, not only because it's Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone, for those that celebrate. If you don't, I hope you're having a wonderful evening spending time with those that you care about and that care about you. I wanted to actually do a reaction video. There was something that I saw on the internet that I thought was pretty important that I can kind of share with everyone and shed some light to. I wanted to do a reaction regarding a video that Graham Stephan, he is a very popular YouTuber. He has roughly 4.17 million subscribers, very popular not only on other forms of social media such as Instagram. He's very knowledgeable about real estate. The reason why I wanted to bring it up is he actually does speak in regards to mentoring or finding a mentor, which I thought could be of benefit since that's kind of the premise of this whole channel. So if you happen to pop in and have a question, feel free to put it down in the comment section over there. I will be periodically checking that as well as doing a reaction regarding this. If you end up seeing this post, I'll probably end up doing some editing regarding this, but I thought that this video provided something of value that we can discuss today. So let's go ahead and get started, and we will see how this goes.
What's up, you guys? It's Graham here. So this is probably one of the most important topics that I'm going to be discussing so far, and it's about mentoring. And I feel like so many people are so caught up right now in trying to find a mentor. They think that a mentor is going to be the end-all, be-all of life and success and business, and they feel like they need a mentor first, and then they can go and start doing things that they really want to do versus just doing those things now and then finding a mentor naturally as they go along. Now, the common theme with all of the mentors that I've had is that I didn't go up to them and I didn't ask, hey, will you be my mentor? Will you?
Okay, so first things first. Finding a mentor. A mentor is basically a informal teacher. It's usually done by either a face-to-face interaction, someone that you meet, whether it's an associate, a business partner, they could be a friend. Basically, the mentor, in theory, should have knowledge of something that you want to learn. The relationship should be considered 50-50. One person shouldn't be getting everything and then the other person is taking. That's not really how mentorships work. They can vary depending upon the type of relationship. And again, I've watched this video one time, but I wanted to be able to comment on this because I thought it had something of value. Depending upon the relationship, the person that's learning may be providing time, work. There could be monetary gains. However, I don't necessarily recommend those. However, we will get into that conversation later in the video. It's just making sure that what you say you're going to do and to make sure that you're forthright about your interest as well as your commitment. So let's go ahead and continue on real quick.
You teach me. I have to say, you guys, that is one of the most common questions I get from everybody is, Graham, will you mentor me? Graham, will you teach me? And that's probably one of the worst ways to go about it. And I'll be completely honest with you. I can't ever see that working. First of all, it tells me nothing about you. It tells me nothing about.
Okay, do you walk up to someone and say, hey, will you mentor me? Hey, will you teach me? I don't recommend this either. I have done it. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty bold when I was younger. I grew up in a single parent home, in a neighborhood that wasn't especially great, and to know what desperation tastes like, especially you're in an environment that you don't want to be in and you want to get out. I understand it. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you live in the hood and you want to get out of the hood. It's just that your spot in life, whether it's your minimum wage job, if you're living on your own and you can barely make ends meet, whether it's your job itself and you just hate it and you want to basically level yourself up, being able to at least give something prior to asking, A, will you mentor me? Like, if I went to a seminar that Graham Stephan was offering, and after the seminar was over, I was like, hey, Graham, will you mentor me? That's not the right way to go. If I were to tell him, those conditions of basically what I just specified, it's like, hey, in the grand scheme of things, I'm a nobody. I grew up in a single parent home, very poor. What can I do to get on the path to where you're at? What are the top 5 things that you would recommend? Or what are the top 5 books that you would recommend that will benefit me the most while I get on this path versus will you mentor me? Given in my individual circumstance, I just threw it out there. It was like, I am not happy where I'm at. When I look at your individual, perspective, whether it's success, your job, the industry that you work in, it could be literally anything. I would throw it out there and say, hey, I work from 6 to 3 or 9 to 5. If it means that I can learn anything from you, as soon as it's 5:01, you give me a call. If you need anyone to do the grunt work or, to do the running around to try to get the information that you need, I will help you for free. To show that commitment towards the person that you're wanting to learn from says a lot more than, "A, will you mentor me?" And I think that's really what he's trying to get to here. But let's continue on.
About how motivated you are, how passionate you are, how knowledgeable you are. Same with asking me questions that you could find off Google in a search. It's different to ask my opinion on something than ask me something that you can Google for 2 seconds and find the answer of. It shows me that you've done no research whatsoever about what you want to do. You don't have the capacity to find the answers on your own.
So again, he had mentioned showing that you're passionate or that you're interested in regards to the commitment. I know for what I do specifically for the people that I mentor, I I give them a test. And again, not everyone who does mentor youth or mentor people that are the same age will do a test, but I think it's important to do because you want to see where the person's at. Um, there are younger people as well as older people who are notoriously late. For those of you that actually work, whether it's part-time or full-time, there's at least 30 to 50% of the people at your job that are habitually coming in late to work, whether it's hooky, they call in sick, but they're really at home, playing video games or out on a date or just didn't feel like coming into work. I get it, but at the same time, there is a cost that needs to be paid with that. So maybe in Graham's case or in my own particular case, if I had a student or one of the students that I was working with had asked me if I would mentor them, I would give them small tests ahead of time to see how serious they were. I would say, okay, this coming Saturday, meet me at 10 o'clock at whatever coffee shop or meet me here at school. We will have a 30-minute session where we'll talk. If by chance, if I tell them 10 o'clock and it's 10:01, they show up late, I'm leaving. Um, Obviously, circumstances do happen and life does happen, but for someone that's like Graham Stephan or someone that is in a particular industry, their time is incredibly valuable. And unless you show that you value their time, they're not going to take you seriously. So take that with a grain of salt. Not all mentors are going to be at that severe, but I think it will show that if you value your own time as well as the mentor's time, they are a lot more likely to take you seriously and to accept the mentorship versus, every time that you ask them, hey, will you mentor me? And then every week or every 2 weeks when you guys meet, you're 10 minutes late. It's like, why am I mentoring this person? And again, that could be part of the growth period. Some may say, well, I don't have a car. Well, the bus works fine. And if by chance on Saturday it means you take the bus that's 1 hour before just because the bus may run late, getting there early to show that you're taking the initiative to value that person's time while you're at that coffee shop or while you're at school. There's things that you could be doing. You could be reading the book that he recommended you read, or it could be literally anything, building those other skills. So it's really important to show that you value this person's time if they are going to commit to teaching you.
And be resourceful. If someone's going to teach you something, they want to know that you're 100% in, that you're really dedicated, that you're enthusiastic, that you're passionate, and that you bring something to the table, not just trying to take something. You always have to offer something in return. I've always come in with something that I've offered them, which is either my enthusiasm, my passion, my drive, my focus. There have been a multitude of things that I've come into the table that can benefit everybody. And it's not just like me going up to somebody asking, will you mentor me? Like, that's such a bad question.
So again, I would commit my time to people if I wanted to learn from them, and I would take initiative. Hey, if you need me during these times, call me. I will be there and I'll help you out with literally anything you need. That shows initiative, that shows the commitment that I would always be there. And then when I'm helping them, whether I would consider it volunteer, but it's technically on the job, informal on the job training. So if he's doing something that's related to real estate, it's like, okay, let's go take a look at some houses. And we're walking around. He doesn't necessarily have to tell me, okay, look at this versus, do you see that right there? Or name some things that you see as a problem with this house. And he may listen to you or give you a notepad, write down everything that's bad about this house. And then after he's going to do his thing, his time is precious, so he can get his job done. I go through the house, I write down all the things that I think are wrong. And then on the car ride back to the coffee shop or wherever he's dropping me off, we compare notes, and then it allows me the opportunity to ask him questions. Well, why did you think this was a problem versus not? Well, the electrical outlet cover was broken. Okay, that's an obvious one. Well, did you notice the paint cracking behind the refrigerator or the shingles that were kind of bent? It looked like it took some hail damage. Well, no, I didn't. Well, you definitely need to make a reminder of that because roofs are expensive to replace. So if we were to buy this house, the roof would need to be replaced. The next customer, the person that would want to move in, they're not going to want to move in a house where the roof is tore up. So that could be one of those learning or key moments of being with someone who's knowledgeable that you wouldn't necessarily be able to think of unless you were with that person.
Same with going up to somebody and asking them like a very generic question that just you can't answer. Like another one I get is like, Graham, like I want to make $1 million. How can I make $1 million? Please help me. And that's honestly, that's such a generic question. It's like I can't answer that, you guys, for real. It's like there are a million ways to make $1 million. You need to go into it asking very specific questions. So here's my recommendation with how to find a mentor. First off,
Okay, this is another misconception. Especially when it comes to famous people, it can be very misleading as far as, especially with Graham, who has 4 million subs. It can be very misleading when you're looking at someone who has achieved such great success. The thing that I would recommend that everyone think about is he's a person, I'm a person. So given while our two lives are completely different, ideally we both function the same. His typical day may be different than mine, but in general, we both have feelings, we both have our opinions, thoughts, and then we both have the things that we're incredibly good at. The misconception might be, okay, this person they're the GOAT, greatest of all time. So if I were to think, okay, Graham is the GOAT, how do I make $1,000,000? You have to be a little bit more specific to that because Graham doesn't know what you're good at. Are you good at art? Are you good at, making stuff with your hands? You may be good with cars. Since Graham is Graham and you're you and I'm me, I can't necessarily move the same way he does. So if you ask someone, hey, how do I make $1,000,000? That's incredibly broad. Just because, okay, well, opportunity may be a big thing. And given I live in the Midwest, so if he's dealing with $1,000,000 houses, in the Midwest, there may be far less $1,000,000 houses than there are in Los Angeles or there are in Las Vegas. So being able to move the same way that he moves may be more difficult for me. And again, there's no um, cookie cutter advice that mentors can offer mentees. I would say, if again, as he said, asking the specific questions. If I'm where I'm at and I want to get towards him, but I have no background in business, what are the top 5 things that I need to learn to get onto the path to learn from someone like him? And it may be the top 5 books, it may be the top 5 skills, punctuality, maybe sales, work ethic, your network, or building a network of other people that want to accomplish things in your area, and let's say building a customer base. These were 5 random things, but they're still extremely useful. But again, unless you ask that question, it's like, okay, if you, out of all the questions that you ask, it's kind of like me asking Graham Stephan, he has 4 million subs, and it's like, okay, I'm wasting my question by not being specific enough to ask him something that will help me. And I think that's what he's getting to.
You need to start on your own path. You need to do things already. You don't need to wait around for a mentor to come and pick you up and swoop you up and then bring you to success. You need to be on that path already. So step number 1, be on that path, do your own research, and start as if you already have a mentor. Just start. Start right now. Start doing your research. Start doing whatever you want to do. And I think naturally and organically, people are going to see your passion. They're going to see what you have to bring to the table. And they're naturally going to want to help you out.
Okay, so take initiative. That's a big one. Definitely take initiative. Getting started more than anything is going to be a huge thing. Obviously, if depending upon where you live, if I were to go to a seminar and Graham Stephan was talking, I may feel, hey, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to ask him. For me to ask him to mentor me just off the bat would be a little bit inappropriate. However, I understand why people want to build these relationships, because if they're looking at, okay, this guy's the GOAT, if I make this relationship, I'm golden. But even still, where you're at now, you're not going to be able to leverage those relationships because you need to build your own skill set first. And as you're going along, it's like improve yourself, or at least be on a path to improve yourself before approaching other people. Because if you're at square one, it's kind of like going to a professional athlete like in the NBA, and it's like, if you never played basketball before, why would you ask LeBron James to teach you to play basketball? It doesn't make sense. You should already be playing basketball, and then one day by happenstance, it's like, okay, LeBron James, what type of drills do you do to get better with ball handling or anything like that? That would be a great question, and that would be a perfect circumstance to pose that person for you to get onto that path.
Successful people usually aren't the type to be like trying to hoard all their information, to hoard everything that they have. Every successful person that I've seen personally has been some of the most giving people you would ever imagine. I mean, they're the most generous people in terms of what they have to offer. And a mentor, by the way, is less about giving you step-by-step guides about how to get somewhere, but they're more about providing experience and wisdom and knowledge and their opinion. Because here's the biggest difference from what I see from a lot of the comments I get and from the comments I get from people who are already on the path. The comments I get from people in the first mentality of like, will you mentor me? Will you teach me? They ask me questions that they can find out very easily with a Google search.
Okay, so get on the path first, go from there, and make sure that you're not wasting your question on a terrible question that you could have looked up by Google. So valuing his time and making sure that you're not, I'm not saying that Graham Stephan is the type of person that would be insulted by you asking a question, but it's like if I met Graham Stephan and let's say I'm still in high school, I meet Graham Stephan, king of real estate or whatnot, and I ask him, how do I get good grades in school? Out of all the questions that I could have literally asked him that he probably would have answered for me, I'm asking him this lower tier question. So develop the primary skills first. And then if there's something that you want to try to get to, like if you create a goal for yourself, what are the 5 skills I need to know if I'm going to crush it one day in real estate? Or what are the 5 books that I should read in order to be able to crush it one day at real estate while I'm on this path? There's no doubt in my mind that he would provide that information for you.
Now, no disrespect to that. These are all great questions, but it tells me that you really haven't taken the time to do any research whatsoever. The questions that I get from people that I know are really going to do well are very specific and they're very opinionated. It's less about, Graham, what type of rent can I get in San Bernardino? But more about, Graham, why did you buy in San Bernardino versus this area? What is your experience renting with a tenant in San Bernardino versus renting to a tenant in Los Angeles? Have you noticed there's more demand in that price point than this price point? They're very opinionated questions, and that's where my expertise comes in. It's not telling you the average price per square foot of San Bernardino, because you could find that on your own. Like, you need to do some research. And that's what a mentor, in my opinion, really has to offer. It's less about facts, and it's more about opinions and experience and knowledge and wisdom that they have to bring to the table. And
It's less about facts, more about opinions, knowledge, and wisdom. Again, going back to people are just people. It could be someone that's extremely successful or, just average Joe, average Jane. Understanding that they go through the same stuff that we go through. It may not be specifically the same problems. Everyone has problems in life, but obviously they're different, whether it's cultural, whether it's societal, whether it's environmental, economical, or anything like that. Understanding that he's a person just like anyone else, and especially if they're famous, since we kind of naturally idolize or pedestalize famous people. Again, he has 4 million subscribers, so to be able to sit down and have a conversation with someone like that would be exceptionally great. But at the same time, he's just a person just like I am. We may have a different thought process, different experience, or anything like that. But as a mentor, it's important that we provide experience or opinions from our own point of view. And especially when it comes to my mentees, I try to be very careful about telling my mentees what to do. And again, this isn't because I lack the confidence in the advice that I'm giving. I like to give my mentees recommendations versus instructions or what's the word I'm looking for? I would rather than me order them to do something, I would rather give them recommendations than advice. And the reason why is we all come from different backgrounds. Um, some people may have a fear of speaking publicly or, like on YouTube, depending upon, how many people are there, the um, discomfort or the nervousness that may be involved. I may not have it, but my mentee may have that. So understanding that the mentee will have these specific challenges, he won't necessarily or she won't necessarily be able to move in the same way that I can move. I can recommend or suggest that you need to improve your public speaking skills, but that's going to be one of those things that will have to be refined over time. It's not something that, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm going to be a better public speaker. No, we gain experience as we do. And then as you grow, you begin to care less about what other people think, or you've given a speech a million times in front of a million people, and now it's just second nature because you don't forget whatever your line is, or you become more confident or more knowledgeable about what it is that you're speaking about. So again, going back to what Graham is saying, I try to give, again, recommendations or advice on certain topics. And I'll say this in other videos that I do in the future. When it comes to anything that I'm trying to teach, either you as the viewer or my mentee, it's not my job to teach you or to tell you how to think. It's my job or my responsibility to get you to think. And the reason for that is in your life, you're going to come across challenges, problems, or circumstances that I have never experienced before. Just because, at this point in time, you and I are walking parallel, but at one point, either I pass away or I decide to go in a different direction, or you decide this is more important. So you start to do this. Well, I've never done that before. So you're going to come across these challenges and problems that I haven't thought of. And I would hate to tell either you, the viewer, or my mentee, you need to do this particular way. And the reason why is I don't want to set them up, or I don't want to set you guys up for failure. And with that, that's like me saying, oh, in my experience, this type of person always did this, so you should say this in response. It's like, no, there's many different types of people in the world, some good, some bad, and some people that may just be misinformed that are good. So to treat any particular person a certain way without, giving them a fair opportunity to do dealing or anything like that would be a missed opportunity, which is why I tell, again, you, the viewer, as well as my mentee, try to think about solving these problems this way. These challenges will come up, and it will come to a point where you need to make a decision on how to solve those. Whether you're able to, like, let's say if it's customer service, customer buys a refrigerator, delivery drivers deliver the refrigerator. As they're putting the refrigerator in the kitchen, refrigerator drops, breaks the tile floor. Now I have a customer complaining to me why my drivers broke their new tiled floor. So I know from experience I need to de-escalate the customer or calm them down. If my mentee or if you as the viewer don't have experience with dealing with very angry customers, you're not going to be able to de-escalate or calm them down. More than anything, it's okay, I understand that this is a problem. If it was in my kitchen, I would be pissed off too. We are going to take care of this for you. And in most cases, people want you to listen to them. They don't necessarily want to solve the issues. And again, one could say even with relationships, if you're, in an intimate relationship, whether, it's a guy or a girl, and again, your girlfriend doesn't want you to solve your problems. They just want you to listen. Just listen, not necessarily hear, actively listen to what they're upset. They just want to vent. And then if they want you to fix it, then okay, I can do this for you, or how does this sound? Offering those steps in order to resolve that based off of your own experience or your own skill set is what's really important. But let's continue on.
And I don't think a mentor is going to be someone, again, to swoop you up and take you to success and like save you necessarily. And they're not going to give you the step by step advice to getting exactly what you want. You need to already be on this path. You need to already be doing exactly what you want to do. And usually, naturally and organically, things happen and things work in your favor from people who see you already on that path and want to help you succeed. And
So again, successful people are just people like anyone else. Obviously, like he said, they're not going to have the quote unquote sauce. He may be the GOAT, but again, he can't give me a cookie cutter example of how to be successful. It's going to take work. There may be things that I need to improve or skill sets that I need to develop. And until I get to that point, I'm not going to be able to do that. So there isn't a magic wand that he could wave, even though technically he could hire me or hire anyone else. Whether or not he wants to actually do that is something else. But again, understanding, in order to be able to get there, you need to have understanding. He's a person, I'm a person, and some work will be required for you to be successful.
you don't need that as an excuse to not do something. Just go and do it anyway. So my advice for finding a mentor is not to wait around to find a mentor. Is just to go and do it. If you want to be in real estate, go ahead and get your real estate license. Go ahead and start on that path. Go ahead and make things happen for yourself and not wait for someone to come around, or not wait for this moment to happen that's going to change your life. Just go and do it anyway. In each one of my circumstances of finding a mentor, I have never once thought I would find a mentor. That wasn't even crossing my radar. It just happened naturally. So in each of those circumstances was not me going up asking for something. It was me going up, showing my enthusiasm, and it just happening naturally and organically. There are also a lot of great organizations.
So take the initiative and get out there. Life is a person's best teacher, whether we want to admit to it or not. Life is going to give you lots of problems, put you in lots of situations that we either do want to be in or don't want to be in. Everyone experiences failure, and more important than anything else, take time to reflect. If you fail, it's okay. Try not to make the same mistake twice, but even more importantly, make sure that you reflect on what happened. Did I do something wrong, or what could I have done better that went wrong? And of course, what can I improve that way this doesn't happen again? Did I just make the wrong choice of, person to do business with? Was it the atmosphere? Was my product defective? How can I improve my product? Looking at all these different things to figure out how you can improve either your business or you as an individual is going to be the best teacher, rather than saying, hey, Graham, I need you to make me the carbon copy of you. It just doesn't happen that way.
Organizations online for you to get involved in. Chances are, no matter what you're doing, there's an online forum that you can join and be a part of and exchange ideas and interests and activities. Like for all my financial interests and stuff like that, I go on a forum on Reddit. It's called Financial Independence. And I spend hours there and I answer comments, I read comments, and I just become a part of this community. It's not necessarily like I have one mentor, but I'm learning from the collective group as a whole. And that's what's so powerful about the internet, is that chances are, no matter what you're into, you can find a mentor from that, and you can learn from a multitude of people, even from you watching this video. Chances are there are YouTube videos exactly what you want to do. So it's about taking the advice that you're able to learn on your own. Do the research on your own. Start this on your own. And you're just naturally going to meet people who are going to want to see you succeed, and they're going to want to.
Take initiative, get out there. And again, depending upon which sector or industry that you're trying to get into, some industries it may be a lot more difficult to actually meet other people. Obviously, if I was a computer programmer and I spent most of my time either in my office or at home or in my basement programming stuff, it may be more difficult to find other programmers that are just as passionate, just as hardworking, or anything else. Getting out there to not only meet the people, to build those relationships, to learn from other people. You don't necessarily need to learn from someone that's above you per se. If you can find someone that is even on the same level as you, but understand this person does whatever better than I do. So if we were to, again, I use basketball as an example. I know that Johnny has handles or he can dribble the ball, he knows how to shake. I'm a shooter. I can't dribble the ball to save my life. I can kill anyone at horse, but I cannot dribble the ball. Learning from Johnny how to dribble the ball or what drills he does to improve his ability to get around people, to shake people, to have ball control at all times is the skill that I can learn from someone else that's at the same level as me, whether it's in high school, college, maybe it's pickup ball at the Y or at some public park somewhere, understanding or visually being able to see, hey, this guy is better than me. What is he doing that I can learn? Going out there to meet those other people that are at the equivalent, I guess, learning or tier as you are, those relationships are great because networking is really important regardless of what you do. Obviously, if you play basketball and you want to get better at basketball, then you definitely either want to play other people at basketball that are the same level as you or slightly better. Obviously, if you're playing against Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and the difference in gameplay is so different, even if you play this person, you're going to get crushed. So they may be able to tell you some things to improve on the smaller scale, do these drills, but when you go to play one-on-one, they're just going to run you. So it's not necessarily worth your time in the long term scale of things, but in the short term, look at those things that you can improve right now to get